Welcome back to the channel, everyone. For those of you who don't know us, my name is Jackie.
Just call me T.
And today we are going to answer that one question that everybody keeps on asking us about our properties. And that is why we refuse to have a property manager. So T, you want to head us off with this one? Because I know that you are very, very vocal about this.
Every single property manager we have came across, and I mean every, I'm talking about this has been a long time of experience. We've been working with, and I shouldn't say even, you could say working with in a sense, or just dealing with property managers, like I said, a long time, because this dates back to when we were renters.
Right.
So the homeowners were, utilizing property managers, and those property managers sucked. They sucked when we were renters, and then when we became owners, they sucked on this side as well. We have never ran across.
I think it was worse.
I don't know which one is worse, honestly, because when we were renters, remember there was an issue where we could no longer park in the back.
Right.
And we paid for that, and that was in the lease.
Mm-hmm. The egress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that, you know what I'm saying? So it's hard to say really which one's worse.
So let's just talk about why we don't deal with them, right? Okay. Besides that first fact, like that, what does suck mean to us? Okay, so obviously we have multiple properties, and the first factor is the cost that comes along with having a property manager. It just does not make sense from a financial standpoint for us to involve a property manager. The property managers that we're seeing right now where we live is anywhere from 7 to maybe about, 7 to 8. Some on the high end is 9%. And based on what they are offering to the homeowners, it's just not worth it. Because regardless of whatever people want to believe, you are still involved in your property. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, but with that 8 to 9% too, Jack, you got to remember too, they're taking that first payment.
Yes.
They're taking that first payment too.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to consider that. And what they're doing now too, on top of this, if you want an inspection done, you have to pay extra to, for them to go by and inspect your property.
Which is crazy talk.
And And if you want a special inspection, you got to pay even more money.
Right.
Once again, you have to pay, and that should be included with property management. They're managing the property, right?
Yeah, I would think inspections is part of property management. Yes, I agree.
So on top of that, then you're talking about when when the renters report issues.
Right.
It takes a long time for the issues to get resolved. And that is not because of the homeowners. That's because these property managers, they have these portals and things aren't getting worked efficiently in those portals.
And they may not have the people to work it as well. Mm-hmm. And not to mention, the property manager just cannot just go and I'm going to send out someone and that's what it's going to be. They still have to communicate with the homeowner. I mean, you just can't do whatever you want to do and make whatever improvements. And that is still you're still involved.
Yeah.
So what difference does it make?
Right. Again, those inspections though, that should be included with it, and as well as a report.
Yes.
Because you're managing my property, I need a report to make sure my property is up to par.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then they charge an extra for, it's an additional fee for a move out inspection too. The move out is very important, guys, because when people move out your property, that determines, what you're deducting from that security deposit for damages. So that needs to be assessed accurately. Mm-hmm. So they're charging then an extra fee for that, even though this whole time they're supposed to be property managing, right? That's part of it. It's so much stuff, and then when you try to communicate with that property manager, once you sign that paperwork, their personalities change. They're no longer available to you. All of a sudden they're always busy managing other properties. So you can't even get in
Which
contact
is a
with
very
them.
inappropriate thing to say.
Yeah, very, very, inappropriate. So, I mean, it's so many things, that go on here. And then when things go wrong, they aren't even educated enough to know what to do. Remember, the property manager called us, from the realtor that we know. We were in Virginia, and called us about the military clause. It was like, hey, yeah, the tenant just up and left and said because they got orders. And I'm like, how much of a notice did they give? They gave a 2-day notice. They said that they'd be leaving on the weekend, and gave us to us on the Wednesday. So these are things that
Right. They're calling us.
you should know as a property manager.
This is crazy talk. As you know, T and I, we're not property managers. We own property. But we have property managers that are in the business of property management, or should we say realtors that are in the business of property management, calling us, asking us what to do when it comes to managing property. This is the type of foolishness that we talk about. But another thing, a big thing that we want to touch on with property management is you mentioned when things go wrong, but what happens when it really goes wrong? Okay, we're talking about when you have to evict someone.
Yep.
If they're not doing those inspections. Now, you don't always, we're going to talk about this in another video, but you don't always get evicted just because of non-payment.
That's what everybody thinks, though.
Okay. There are other reasons as to why a tenant can get evicted. We have shown it 2 times on this channel, and it's due to sanitary conditions and lease violations. If the property management company is not going by and only doing a yearly inspection, how would they know if the tenant has violated the lease? That's question number 1. So it's going to become a very difficult process for you as a homeowner to get that person out, because there is no documentation of the 7-day notice of cure to come out and all of that other stuff. Not to mention the eviction process. Do you think the property manager is going to file the paperwork?
But I want to flip something real quick, though, because you mentioned about the property manager, sending out the 7-day notice of cure and things like that. But what about, since they're not going there and there's issues with the property, now that tenant has a lot of power.
Sure
that
do.
tenant can now go at, the landlords and everything for not doing things that they need to do to maintain that property. Because there's maintenance you have to do as landlords as well. Things you have to do according to the statute. And so things aren't being done right. Now that tenant got all this power in the world, but the tenants obviously, don't really know the law and things like that. But you come across one of those tenants who's done their research, or one of those tenants where things are so bad they get an attorney involved, you hurt.
Like us.
What you think
Tenants
the property
like
manager gonna do? Property manager gonna throw that on you.
Exactly. And another thing you want to bring up, T, we mentioned this before, but when you involve certain parties within your lease agreement, like property management companies and realtors, you lose certain rights as the landlord.
Yep.
You do. And that can come back to bite you in your tail, because one of the things that we were dealing with right now with this tenant, they thought that they can have ESAs in the home. But T, you can talk more about that, about why that wasn't the case and why we fell into that exemption for that.
I mean, to keep it short, because exemptions exist, and if there was like Jack was saying, with the third party involved with, the realtor or the property management, then that exemption would have been out the door. It wouldn't apply. So those are certain things that you lose, because if that third party would have been involved, they would have been okay with just bringing the animals if they were valid ESAs. So you always want to check, make sure that they are valid ESAs, and ask the right questions, and there's proper paperwork that you will request and verify things like that. But do you think a property manager is going to do that?
Nope.
Absolutely not. I mean,
No.
They're not even going buy the place. So how would they even know? And then, when it's turnover time, you find out that your walls are scratched up. You know what I'm saying? For some cats or dogs. Yeah, your house smells like animals been in there. You can, because that smell just lingers. Or you smell marijuana, strong scents. Your yard is tore up, been dug up, by animals and things like that. It can be ugly.
Right. And I was watching something on YouTube about a property management company and that was managing a home for a young lady in Baltimore that was obviously she was out of town. Come to find out, the tenant had been reporting something about the HVAC, and it was a huge flow coming from the top, but it went on for 4 months. Didn't know. So what the tenant did was find out who the owner was, went around who the property management was, and then she sued the landlord.
And the landlord probably
Didn't even know. She didn't know because the property manager is reporting every month everything's fine. She's getting her rent and everything. So
yeah,
shady stuff like that.
Yeah.
And another thing, T and I, we say this all the time. No one can manage our properties better than what we can.
Just like nobody should be able to manage it better than you. It's your property. You should know your property way better than some third party just stepping in.
Exactly.
And you should care more about it because it's your investment.
Not theirs.
Third party didn't take out that loan, for that property. That third party didn't sign the paperwork to get that property. That's all you. That third party is going to be gone after that year or whatever case, and you're still going to be there. That house is attached to you. You have to take care of that. People just love to just throw things off of someone else, thinking that someone else can just they'll take care of it. I'm just gonna pay this, and they'll handle it, and that's just pure laziness.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? People don't ever really try to do things themselves. Just quickly, let me go over here and do that. I mean, I've seen situations where there were landlords. There's a landlord who was overseas and had property managers managing, and let's just say the least, when he came back, he got rid of the house.
That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was. They're doing bare minimum, not saying all. Before we have property managers in the chat talking about some, oh well, not all property. We're not talking about all. We're talking about what we have observed and our experience with property managers and why we refuse to have a property manager at all.
I remember when we were searching for a property in Virginia, that property manager, he was like, man, can you believe a tenant complained because the refrigerator got messed up and we took the refrigerator out, and they were mad, talking about, when are you putting the new refrigerator in here? Kept rushing us on a new fridge. I mean, why wouldn't a tenant get mad over
exactly. that? And we were prospects. So imagine how we felt going into that whole situation. And if you don't know what T's talking about, we have a whole playlist of us heading to Virginia and our horrible experience with, oh my gosh, with property managers in Virginia. It was just like the worst. It was the worst.
That's part of the appliance is that you included. You know what I'm saying? You never said that the tenant has to bring their own refrigerator. Mm-hmm. So that was there when they got there and included, in the lease. Why wouldn't they get upset that it's been a while, you know what I'm saying, before you put something else in there?
Right. And another thing that people don't even realize when it comes to property managers, you could probably miss out on some really good tenants because they refuse to deal with property managers. Like us, when we were in our tenant phase, we refused to deal with property managers. Even when people came to the property, they said, you're not property managers, are you? It was like, no, we're the homeowners. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a big deal too. So it's just so much, when dealing with the property manager. And like I said, with them talking about how they were busy, before. I mean, of course, you're a realtor, you out selling, property, you know what I'm saying? You happen to the sellers, you having buyers, then you're managing property, doing showings and stuff. But if you're too busy to deal with property managers, simply don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not helping a homeowner, nor are you helping the tenants.
Yeah.
You're making things bad all for, what I'm saying, you collecting the couple $100s a month. That's all it's about. Yeah, I'm getting paid, but you're not doing anything worth for you to earn that pay.
Right. Because, I mean, regardless of whatever people want to make it seem like, it is not a lot of time and energy and effort managing a property. Now, of course, the more and more you get, that number increases. But we're talking about like what we manage 2 rentals. It's not that much work if you have the systems in place and you have what you need to do. I mean, yes, you will have to do inspections, but honestly, that's up to the landlord how frequently they want to go by their property. We choose to do quarterly inspections, and then once that inspection is a good one, we will choose whether or not we will continue with the quarterly inspection or push it out a little further depending on who the tenant is. But it's not that much work, I'm telling y'all. It's really not that much work. I think a lot of people get scared to the point where they're like, oh, I don't want to deal with people. Oh my gosh, I need someone else to have that contact. I mean, that's really what they're doing.
And that's because it's like once that relationship unfolds, it completely changes.
Right.
Like the landlords they become afraid, of their tenants, afraid to ask, hey, how's everything going with the house? They be afraid to communicate, hey, plan on stopping by this date, to make sure that everything is good with the house. And the landlords aren't seeing it that's a good balance, because for one, you need to protect yourself to make sure that you're doing your part and that property is habitable and things like that. So you have to do your part. It's not about, you just thinking, oh, I'm just invading the tenant space or anything like that. You got to protect the house, and you got to make sure that they're good at the same time,
Exactly. It's all about sending a communication, email. Like, can we just send an email? I mean, you don't have enough time to send a scheduled email. I mean, you can make those things even way before time. Send a text message. Send anything. Send a letter. It doesn't matter if you don't want to talk to the person. Just do that. But T, do you think that there's any time? I know how we're so adamant about it's a no for us. And even when we had our property in North Carolina, we managed that remotely. So we didn't have a property manager doing that. But do you think that there's ever a time that we would be like, okay, maybe we should get a property manager, or any time that it will be appropriate to have one?
I would say appropriate would be, I would bring this up. That property out there, guys, that the recent tenants have moved in and out already. We had a lot of trouble getting people to come there, because when they come there, on the phone, everybody wants to rent, and they were even, hey, we'll pay right now. But when they get there and they see our complexion, they turn away quickly. The attitude shifts.
Horrible.
Everything changes because of our complexion, and that's very unfortunate to be like, you know what, we need someone with a different complexion just to be the face and manage the property. It's very unfortunate with things like that, and that's why you guys don't understand is real deep with selling the place. That's why we were leaning towards selling it too, because of situations like that. Because out there is not a high number of people with a complexion. Basically, it's more of the other race out there, and unfortunately you run into situations like that with racism.
Yeah, that's just what it is. And what T is talking about, if we're going to get somebody, it's looking like we're going to probably have to use a third party if it comes down to that, if we continue to keep the home, or a property manager just to bring someone in.
Yeah, just to bring someone in, you know.
Definitely not to manage the property,
Yeah,
but
just to bring someone in because, like I said, when they see us, you know, it even, you know, I remember I went outside one day, and even with the lawn care guy, for example, he was like, "Hey," when I first met him, "How are you?" I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" You know, I went out there and talked to him. He's like, doing the conversation. He's like, "I'm sorry, so you're the tenant?" And like, "No, man, I own this place. I'm the homeowner." He's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, dude. I'm so sorry."
he about to use the bathroom on
I'm
himself.
sorry. So
Couldn't believe that.
it's like in certain locations when they see certain people, you know, as you know, homeowners, it's sadly it you know blows them away. It's a shocker to them.
But T, even buying the house, we had the same issue.
We did.
So it wasn't, and this was a second house because the house that we really wanted was in Dunellen, Florida. And that's right there next to Ocala. Beautiful home on like, what is it, over a 1/4 acre lot. It was so, oh my gosh, it was so nice.
Mm-hmm.
And
we couldn't get it.
The realtor was real good, but it was the people after the realtor. They was like, oh no. It's like they didn't want us in the neighborhood. And that would have been perfect. No CDD, no HOA,
Huge
no
yard,
nothing,
everything.
you know, well water. Oh my goodness. But of course, we couldn't get it.
And the realtor, he was so confused.
He was so young, though.
Yeah, he was young, but
he
it's
don't
like,
understand that.
you know, this is the reality, man, you know, because, I mean, everything checked out. And that's why he was calling us at like, I remember he texted me at 10 o'clock at night. He said, because it's just been bothering him. He's like, dude, I don't understand because you guys' credit is there. You have the income. You have everything. I'm not understanding this.
They would not give us the home. They would not give us the home. And, I mean, that's sad, but, I mean, we probably should talk about that one day. But the things that we dealt with trying to buy a home. And this goes into why we try so hard to keep our home. No matter what we go through, we try so hard because if you know what T and I have been through just to try to get these properties, it's like pulling teeth. That y'all, whether y'all want to believe it or not, they don't want to give, like T is saying, people of color all these properties. You know, that ain't a thing. Like cut it out. Cut it out. I know whatever social media makes it look like, oh, well, you know, have all these properties. It's not really a thing when you're out here and they know what you're doing, and especially the strategies that T and I go about buying properties. He has his properties, I have my properties. They definitely don't want that. They definitely don't want that. It's a problem. It's a true problem for them. It's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, this is something different because we come on here, you know, we share our stories and, you know, we talk about home ownership, you know, landlord and stuff. But this piece we don't talk about, you know, but there's a lot that happens, you know what I'm saying, up until it, even with the last house, the loan processors, they were completely rude, you know, when initially even doing the loan. I remember the lady sent the rude text message with an explanation point.
Right.
You know, you need to do this now, and now the call, like, who are you talking to? You know what I'm saying? You gotta come correct when you talk to me. You're not gonna speak with me in that manner, you know?
And even with this home, see, we mentioned this a lot when it comes to myself and when it comes to T. Okay, people are comfortable around me, but when T comes around, not that I don't know why they keep on doing this, but whenever he comes around and he starts questioning things that just are clearly not right, they get all up in arms.
But it'd be the males.
It's always the males that do this. And in particularly in this house that we're sitting in right now, they kicked T off the loan. They kicked him off. And, you know, they, in their mind, got you because, you know, we're not giving you a house. But see, what they wasn't counting on was the fact that I have my own income, I have my own credit, I have my own everything.
But what they won't count on too is I still qualified at my credit that can pull, and that's when I just went and bought another house.
Exactly. So he just went and bought another house, and I went and bought this house. So it's just one of those things you're gonna have to, you know, if it comes across and you happen to deal with this, these things do exist. These things do exist. And that's part of the reason why we really go to the builders. That's part of our whole approach, is because, not saying that we don't have to deal with it, but if we deal with it, at least we can escalate it. We can escalate it really, really far, and they'll nip that right there in the butt. But if you're dealing with like other, like going out there getting pre-existing homes and whatever,
you gotta wait.
You gotta wait. You gotta do this. You gotta do that. You go to the builder, boom, same day you sign on that. And when do you want to move in? That's the question. And you can negotiate, y'all. I'm telling y'all, we done negotiated some really good deals. We have some really good interest rates on our homes. And we mentioned in our last video about a home we seen for $3.99 that we're going to go see.
Yeah, and negotiating.
Go
it's like,
see it.
I remember it's like, wait a minute, if we move in by this day, we're paying this. But we wait and move in here, we're paying this.
Exactly.
Well, okay. Well, we're going to wait till then.
Exactly. And let me tell you something. They do not want to cancel the deal.
Nope.
That is something they do not want to do. They will do whatever they want. Let you call them, because this happened too many times. I'm canceling. Because you can't cancel. Like, if they tell you can't cancel, you know.
Don't believe that.
Don't believe that. I said, we canceling, we're done, we're doing all this other stuff. Man, they moved everything. We had brand new blinds in our house. We had our whole floor epoxied. They done bought all these appliances. Mm-hmm. They bought a brand new washer, dryer, yep. TVs. Look, oh my gosh.
Bigger incentive. They do it all.
Bigger incentives.
Sure they do not want to miss
cash
out on that.
Back, all that.
And that's because
extended the warranty. Remember they paid an extra year for the HOA
mm-hmm.
here.
Yeah, yep. And that's because the way that it was explained to us is that they market. You know, it's kind of, even though it's pending, it's kind of marked as sold at the same time, mm-hmm. and then it's like a resale when they remarket it over because it didn't go through with that sale.
Right.
So they don't want that because now it looks like it's already sold before.
They really, really get involved at the top level once you start complaining and stuff like that. Well, I can't speak for all builders. All I know is Lennar does it.
A lot of realtors ghost too that you deal with in the office when things like this happen.
Yes, they
when
ghost.
Conflict happens, they completely ghost. All of a sudden they're on vacation. You remember the guy? All of a sudden he's on vacation. He took a whole month off. Like, really? He took a whole month off during a time like this when all these houses, they have to say, okay, so this is, all right, well, we're just going to pull up, and I'm pretty sure we're going to see him. Yeah.
We'll see. And we did see him outside, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I just came back. Yeah, okay.
Stuff we go through. Oh, my goodness.
All right, so, as always, just let us know, your thoughts on this video as well, and don't forget to run those likes, hypes, comments, the whole 9 yards. Run it up, y'all. And after this video, from seeing what we talked about, would you get yourself a property manager, or would you rather just do it yourself?
Yeah, I'm interested to see that as well.
Mm-hmm. I want to see those.
All right, you guys, until next time, peace out.
See ya.